Hello, Intelligent Automation community. The last several weeks have been a firestorm of activity around product launches, acquisitions, and general overall analyst reports and various bits of noise out there. And I tend to be in the mix on a lot of these topics before they're publicly available. So aside from one announcement this next upcoming week, I think I'm in the clear so that I don't accidentally leak anything. But then again, this could also be the video that finally gets me in trouble for oversharing. So it's always part of the fun here. So let's recap the last couple weeks of industry news, and then I'll cover a few upcoming intelligent automation webinars that you might be interested in. Of course, the biggest news in the industry was also the worst kept secret, which is 2 weeks back, Microsoft announced that Power Automate Desktop would be free to every Windows 10 user. And with that swoop, basically wiped out an entire segment of the market that was pitching RPA as a solution to quick and easy personal desktop automations. I kind of like to think that Microsoft heard the bot on every desktop marketing pitch, and the rest went something kind of like this.
Well, the pace car, we understand, has been stolen. The officials are not driving this thing, and somebody has actually gotten in the pace car and stole it.
Is that somebody driving that stole it right there? Oh, wow, look at this.
That's when the hold my beer and watch this was invented.
Now, I personally believe that the Microsoft Power Automate democratization at no cost is great for the industry overall. If we're going back to the days 5 years back where there was this proliferation of rogue scripts and macros, but we're going to rebrand that chaos of the time as Citizen RPA, then at least the software is free and accessible to everyone. That way companies can figure out what controls they realistically need to have in place to govern that type of model if they chose to go that approach. You don't have to spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to get the software to figure those things out. Also, if you're using Blue Prism for your enterprise kind of top-down automations and Power Automate for your more distributed bottom-up automations, and you'd like to connect the Blue Prism platform with the Power Automate platform to create a more enterprise solution that's out there, you'll find downloadable skills to do that out on the Blue Prism Digital Exchange. I will put a link to the Power Platform connector down in the first comments below. Moving to another big player, after shopping an acquisition for a little less than 2 years, on March 23rd, ServiceNow announced the acquisition of the Intellibot platform. As an industry, we have to get behind Alec Barley and applaud him and his team for creating the very well-reviewed Intellibot platform and making a stellar exit through this sale to ServiceNow. It will be very interesting to see what ServiceNow does with this acquisition. Of course, we've seen Microsoft's acquisition of Softomotive is generating big waves in the market by integrating the Win Automation platform in with the Power Automate platform. But acquisitions by SAP and IBM haven't seemed to net that type of return. They appear at this point still to be a little bit of a check the UI automation box. Of course, RPA acquisitions by BPM technologies such as Appian and Pega and Hyland have generated a little bit more of a natural benefit in that these BPM platforms aren't generally going through the UI, they're automating against systems through API integrations, and there's certain systems like mainframes where that API approach isn't appropriate, so adding BPM plus RPA extends into some new use cases. There was also news on Tuesday about UiPath taking a bit of a reverse direction. They acquired the API integration company Cloud Elements. All of the major RPA technologies could already make API calls, so the UI automation plus the backend API automation mix isn't necessarily anything novel. However, my read is that this was likely a great buy for UiPath in that Cloud Elements was probably fairly inexpensive, and they add something like 200 new API connections overnight. Now, the API callout is also aligned with a track that both Blue Prism and Automation Anywhere have been down for years. If you're watching this as a Blue Prism customer, you'll notice that all of the skills on the Blue Prism Digital Exchange are actually API calls. If you filter down, you'll notice something like over 200 API calls just for Google Cognitive Technologies alone on the Blue Prism Digital Exchange. If you're on the AA Bot Store, it looks like you need to search for API, but you'll find those there as well. And that naturally brings us around to the next topic, which is last week Automation Anywhere announced that Google is their new preferred cloud partner. And if you have seen the video I did on robotics in the cloud, the first one, the one at the beginning of February, which I'll try and put a link to, I don't know if it goes there or there, but one of those. If you check back to that first RPA in the cloud video I did, I had mentioned that there were no RPA technologies out on the Google Cloud Marketplace at that point, and as of today, there's still not any technologies out on the Google Cloud Marketplace for RPA. In fact, Automation Anywhere might not even be the first one. But that doesn't stop the press engines. This particularly recycled press release is really funny if you're someone like me who has to understand the difference between what technology vendors market and what they actually do and what generates outcomes. This is a great example of that. In fact, just before the pandemic hit, Automation Anywhere had issued a press release that Microsoft Azure was their preferred cloud partner. So,
you want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
I've been waiting for a while to use that clip, but I also did not intend to turn this into poking at a particular vendor. But unfortunately, two things happened last week. Automation Anywhere also rebranded the A2019 platform to Automation 360.
I mean, the McFlurby is nothing like the McFlurry. We put our toppings on the bottom.
And finally, analyst firms Forrester and Horses for Sources, HFS, both released their 2021 RPA technology vendor landscape reports. To no surprise, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Microsoft all took top spots. What seems to be dramatically different between the two reports is their opinion on the spot for Blue Prism. In fact, over on LinkedIn, particularly around the Forrester report, because that came out early in the week, you will see a lot of debate on that topic, especially even from folks that aren't typically Blue Prism supporters. So check that out. This video's already fairly long. I've been recording for a bit. I promised to get in some other topics, but let me parse that out into a second clip. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a link to part 2 right there. Don't usually do this, but again, you probably don't want to watch a 20-minute video in one sitting here. So check that out. All right. See you over there.